This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Good evening. The television and radio stations of the United States and their affiliated stations are proud to bring you the first televised presidential debate. The main two candidates need no introduction. The Republican candidate is Vice President Richard Nixon, and the Democratic nominee is Senator John F. Kennedy. A panel of moderators has produced a wide-ranging selection of questions pertinent to national interest, ranging from foreign policy to civil rights to the economy. And now for the first opening statement by Senator John F. Kennedy.
Thank you. My fellow Americans, let me state clearly and without reservation that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. The hilarious gunfights and mesmerizing action sequences expertly portrayed by Bruce Willis in no way detract from the underlying Yuletide elements of this heartwarming holiday movie. Thank you, and I encourage my opponent to concede before he embarrasses himself. Die Hard is definitely a Christmas film.
Okay. Thank you, Senator Kennedy. We will now hear the opening statement from Vice President Richard Nixon.
Good evening. Once again, as the only adult in the room, it falls on Dick Nixon to tell the American people the cold, hard truth. Die Hard is an action film and not a Christmas movie, because the holiday in question is wholly peripheral to the plot.
Thank you, gentlemen, for that. Our first question tonight pertains to agricultural surpluses. In the most recent farm
The events
bill...
of the film all take place on Christmas Eve. There are Christmas hats. There are Christmas trees. For God's sakes, John McClane's wife is named Holly. What more proof do you need?
The Sound of Music, Jumanji, While You Were Sleeping, Catch Me If You Can, Gremlins, Mean Girls, I could go on. They're all set during Christmas time. But no patriotic, red-blooded American would ever claim any of these flicks, though enjoyable and iconic in their own ways, constitute Christmas movies.
Thank you. That concludes the portion of the debate we will dedicate to film analysis of the movie Die Hard. We now turn our attention to the subject of Vietnam. Senator Kennedy, do you agree with the containment doctrine, and are you willing to commit U.S. troops to Southeast Asia?
I have in my hand the script of the movie Die Hard, and the word Christmas appears in this outstanding script no less than 18 times, belying the screenwriter's clear holiday intent.
Okay. Mr. Nixon, when it comes to the Soviet Union, would you pursue a containment strategy or push for détente?
The word gun appears 73 times, and the word terrorist appears 51. Hallmark elements of an action film.
It's full of Christian symbolism. When John McClane walks across broken glass in order to save the people he loves, this wondrous cinematic stigmata is a tribute to Christ's walk to Golgotha.
My friends, don't be fooled by some slick Harvard debate tactics. You can pump Christian symbolism into anything if you try hard enough. In The Terminator, Arnold Schwarzenegger mysteriously appears amongst humanity to save it. Does that make him the Son of God? No.
Point of order. Arnold Schwarzenegger saves John Connor in Terminator 2, not the Terminator. In the first film, Schwarzenegger's the bad guy.
Technically, Arnold Schwarzenegger goes back in time as the good guy in Terminator 2 and in Terminator 3, Rise of the Machines, but...
And in Terminator Dark Fate.
Conceded, damn it!
Right. Okay. Glad we've ironed that out and got all of the movie arguments out of our system. Let's move on from Die Hard to domestic policy. President Eisenhower signed into law the Civil Rights Act of 1957, but black leaders say additional voting protections are needed to countermand the Jim Crow South. Mr. Nixon, would your administration seek to strengthen or expand civil rights?
Well, as Vice President, I shepherded the 1957 Civil Rights Act through Congress, the first such legislation since Reconstruction, and I remain amenable to additional legislation to that effect.
That was a great answer. Thank you. Good. Senator Kennedy.
So you're conceding that Die Hard is a Christmas film?
No, damn it!
We're going to try something else. Vice President Nixon, in the film Die Hard, Hans Gruber is trying to steal banknotes.
They were bear
bombs.
Okay, bear bonds. Fine. Do you think the bear bonds, as noted in the film Die Hard, see, we're talking about Die Hard, would they be affected if the United States went off the gold standard?
Sure, probably, I don't care. Senator Kennedy, Die Hard was released in July, like you would do with a summer action flick.
How about I just say words and you two give a thumbs up or a thumbs down? Nuclear Proliferation Treaty.
Holiday Inn was released also in July. A Miracle on 31st Street came out in May.
And that's time. Thank you, gentlemen, for your exhaustive, unremitting analysis of the classification of a single Bruce Willis film. I now invite both candidates to give their concluding remarks on why the American people should elect them to the highest office in the land. But of course, I am not holding my breath. What I am holding is a shattered career and a bottle of bourbon I plan to empty in 45 minutes in my running car.
My friends, just because some cynical Hollywood producer, probably a Jew, slapped a Santa cap on a dead terrorist to squeeze a few more royalty checks out of Joe's six-pack does not a Christmas film it make. At the end of the day, Die Hard is just a film about a man killing Germans in an elevator. In synopsis, I urge my fellow Americans to join me in saying, yippee-ki-yay.
At its core, Die Hard is the immortal narrative of a husband trying to return to his family on Christmas, like the parents in Home Alone or the third Harold and Kumar. If Die Hard is not a Christmas film, then Khrushchev and the Reds have won the Cold War. I urge my fellow Americans to carefully consider who is more handsome and vote accordingly. Thank you.
And that concludes tonight's excuse for a debate. Stay tuned for a special crossover episode between Dragnet and Bonanza.
I'm not shaking your hand, you walking penis in a necktie.
I hate you, you ruby-faced vampire.
Ow! Oh, yeah?
This is CBS, where you get the election results best, the Columbia Broadcasting System.